ready? We'll open tonight's Committee of the Whole for July the 2nd, 2019. The Council should have received the minutes from the June 18th meeting of the Committee of the Whole. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So the minutes from June 18th are carried forth. Auburn Downtown Redevelopment Authority, Mayor Pro Tem Whitten.
Yes, sir. We have 2 vacancies on the Auburn Downtown Redevelopment Authority. One incumbent has served 2 full terms, and the additional member has served 1 full term. For the first seat, I would like to nominate Ray Huff for reappointment for the first seat. And Mayor, if we may take those 1 seat at a time.
That'd be fine. So we have a motion for Ray Huff for the first seat. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, and we'll vote on Mr. Huff in just a minute.
Okay, and then for the second seat, I would recommend that I nominate Marty Mosley to serve a 2nd term.
Okay, we have Marty Mosley nominated. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for Ms. Mosley. Are there any other nominations from the council?
I would like to nominate Mr. John Tisdale for the 2nd vacancy.
Okay. Is there a second for Mr. Tisdale?
A second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second for Mr. Tisdale, and we'll vote on him in just a minute. Any others? Okay, so the nominations are closed. So, Mr. Huff, would anybody like to, we have a motion and a second for Mr. Huff. Is there any comments or questions?
I would recuse myself from voting for that due to my relationship with the nominee.
Okay,
Do we want to wait just a second and allow Councilwoman
that'd be fine.
Taylor to join us? Okay. Councilwoman Taylor, we're working on the nominations for the Downtown Redevelopment Authority, Auburn Downtown Redevelopment Authority. We have 1 vacancy, which the nomination is Ray Huff, and we're looking at that one to vote on now. And then the second one, we have 2 nominations. The first one is Marty Mosley, and the second is John Tisdale, and we'll take that in the second vote. Thank you.
So, Mr. Huff, comments or thoughts? Okay. We have a motion, and so at this point in time, we'll go ahead and vote.
Sure can. I mean,
Right.
Theoretically, because you only have 1 nominee for that seat, you don't have to vote, but go ahead and vote to be formal because you had a council member recuse themselves as well. It's probably better to formalize it.
So all in favor of Mr. Huff, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so Mr. Huff will be appointed later on in the agenda. Okay?
And then for the second seat, nomination is, the first one is Marty Mosley, and we'll take that one first and then go from there.
Okay, so we have Marty Mosley now. Would anybody like to make any comments, thoughts on Ms. Mosley?
I would just like to state that Ms. Mosley has great financial experience, has a wealth of knowledge with regard to the downtown area, and this would be a 2nd term.
Okay. Anything else from Ms. Mosley? Any other comments from Ms. Mosley? Okay. All in favor for Ms. Mosley, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, you want to get the, all right. Are there any nays? Okay, so Ms. Mosley will carry the day. So we'll appoint Mr. Huff and Ms. Mosley later on in the agenda. Any questions for the Assistant City Manager tonight? Questions on the agenda?
Mrs. Crouch, would be this the time to go over the sewer information, the question that we had at the packet and you provided us, but just for the general public's knowledge, we have on our agenda an appropriation for an emergency expense.
Yeah, an emergency repair in the neighborhood of, I'll need to double check here, $66,000 to a sewer force main on, $63,000 to a sewer force main on Highway 14. This originated with a concern raised by a citizen in January. An emergency repair was invoked to replace quite a linear distance of sewer force main. We had corrosion caused by some gases in the sewer that are very normal, and I'll have Eric Carson weigh in if you want great technical detail by our Water Resource Management Director, but in plain English for the rest of us non-engineer speak is we had some corrosion in the line caused by gases, and that corrosion we investigated large sections of line with a private firm to determine where all we had issues. Those issues were only isolated to the area we showed on your map. Our sewer line runs much longer than this. It's on the south side of the railroad tracks, but I was trying to give you the isolated area to show where the repair was. And that repair has been made. We changed the type of pipe. We switched from ductile iron to PVC, and it's been fixed. And we don't come to you with an emergency repair until we get all of the expenses in order.
Any other questions for the agenda? Ms. Crouch. Okay. Do I have moved, or any other questions from the council? If not, do I have a move to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second to adjourn the committee of the whole, and we will begin the council meeting immediately, right? Okay, Lindsay?
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Carson,
Here.
Smith,
Present.
Taylor,
Here.
Witten,
Here.
Anderson.
Here. Would you please rise for the singing of the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Okay, Clay Carson, would you please come forward? It's the first meeting of each month, so this is our opportunity to recognize an employee who's done a great job. How you doing? This is a memo to City Manager Jim Buston from Public Safety Director Bill James. I would like to nominate Lieutenant Clay Carson of the Fire Division as the July Employee of the Month. Clay began his employment with the City of Auburn in 1997 as a student firefighter and was promoted to career firefighter in 2001 and promoted to the rank of lieutenant in 2006. He has been a reliable and a go-to employee during his tenure and has sought opportunities to make the organization a better place. Recently, Lieutenant Carson has responded on numerous calls when off duty. In late February, he came in to work the fire surrounding an officer-involved shooting. His experience on an atypical structure fire scene proved invaluable to incident command. He provided leadership and experience when working the scene after the fire, taking the role of a post-incident searching, and did an outstanding job. His coordination with multiple agencies assisted in moving the investigation forward. He also played a pivotal role in the response to the March tornadoes. Clay knew he could help and immediately drove out to Beauregard and was able to coordinate with city and county agencies to establish the initial command structure, gathering resources and communicating with on-scene personnel to direct rescue operations. He worked long into the night, helping to facilitate searches for people that were hurt or injured. Lieutenant Carson has also taken the lead in training personnel. He serves as a shift training officer and is responsible for coordinating all training activities across the shift. He has assisted in many large-scale evolutions, including hazardous materials and technical rescue responses. His leadership and experience in this educational role is invaluable. He also tracks and tests all of the division fire hose. That can be a daunting task that requires many hands to ensure that the division remains compliant in that area. Clay willingly provides his services and always represents the fire division in the City of Auburn in a professional manner. For these and many other reasons, I recommend Lieutenant Clay Carson as the July Employee of the Month.
Thank you, Clay.
Okay, we have a number of service awards tonight. From Water Resource Management, Dusty Kimbrough, 5 years. From the Planning Department, 5 years, Tom Weintraut. From Public Safety, Police, 15 years, Gavin Compton. From the Judicial Department, 15 years, Jeff Hatchett. From Public Safety Police, Garth Ellenberg, 15 years. Public Safety Police, 15 years, Bud Neesmith. From the Auburn Public Library, 20 years, Sharon Bradley.
Mayor, may I briefly speak?
You sure can.
I want to say how much I appreciate Garth Ellenberg and Jeff Hatchett being here tonight. 15 years ago today, we were going through the merger of IU Police Department and Auburn Police Department. A very trying time for all of us involved, and I can't imagine what those two officers went through. Fine quality officers who did a great job. I was proud to work with both of them. And it was a trying time for Chief DeGraffenreid as well. He went through a lot to make that happen. And I just want to say how much I appreciate what you did, how much you taught me about policing the campus. It takes a unique person to police the Auburn University campus. You did a fine job. You're still doing a fine job today. I learned a lot from both of you, and got us through a tough time, and I want you to know how much I appreciate you. And it's not been successful about men like you working hard, and women too, working hard at it to make it happen. So the City of Auburn owes you a great deal of gratitude.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we have a Special Achievement Award. Where is Rebecca? There you are. This is a memo to City Manager Jim Buston from Kristen Reeder, Human Resource Director. Please accept this nomination of Human Resources Assistant Rebecca Green for an Achievement Award. Rebecca joined the City of Auburn in March of 2014. During her employment, she has demonstrated a passion for enhancing her job knowledge and service to this organization through education and training. With support from the city's Educational Assistance Program, she recently earned her Master of Science in Human Resource Management through Troy University. Rebecca worked through lunches and stayed late completing assignments to earn her degree while balancing her job and a family with young children. She is a shining example of what can be achieved with a positive attitude and a willingness to put in the work. It is employees like Rebecca who are assuring our continued success as a city now and in the future. The value of the knowledge and skills Rebecca has gained from this accomplishment has already been demonstrated in her ability to take on higher level duties such as management of our online education system. Earning her master's degree is a very significant educational and professional milestone in her career with the City of Auburn, and I am honored to nominate Rebecca for an Achievement Award. Congratulations. Before I continue on with some announcements we have, I wanted to recognize our Boy Scouts that we have with us tonight. And if you'd please stand and tell us who you are and what you're working on, what troop you're with.
My name is James Eves. I'm from Troop 371, and today I'm working on my citizenship in the community merit badge.
My name is Jonathan Eves. I'm from Troop 371, and I'm working on my community membership badge.
We're proud to have y'all, and thank y'all for all your hard work and your dedication to our community, and y'all come back anytime and ask any of us any questions that you might have. Okay.
But he's still here to,
That's okay, he can still, we'll recognize him.
same reason?
Thank you, AJ.
My name's Trey Stanford, and I'm with Troop 50, getting sit in the community.
All right, well, congratulations and thank y'all for your hard work, guys, okay? Couple of announcements. Today I met with the Sankeys, had a great meeting with them, and they were talking to me about the Black Male Summit that will be July the 27th at Auburn High School. This will be the second annual Black Male Summit. This year's theme is called Next Level. And I encourage anybody from our community who wants to support a good cause, if they are looking to raise some support for this, but most importantly, encourage young people to attend. It's about a 9:30 to 1 o'clock activity on that Saturday, and they've got a number of great speakers that they're bringing in and some great information. They're also going to feed all the young men a free lunch that day too. So it'll be a great activity for our community. A couple other announcements. Just want to remind everybody about Thursday night and the fireworks, and we thank Briggs and Stratton again for supporting that, and look forward to a great night over at Duck Sanford. Just excited to tell you that the Diversity and Inclusion Committee met this last week, and we'll be taking a field trip down to Montgomery to the Legacy Museum a week from Saturday, and look forward to doing that as a group, and that should be very fruitful. And we've also adopted a mission statement that's been publicized in the newspaper. If you'd like any more information about that, don't hesitate to let me know. Are there any other council members that might have announcements they'd like to share tonight?
Well, I do. I want to let everyone know that Ward 1 is having a community and task force meeting at 6 o'clock at Boykin Communities Auditorium on July the 15th. And I also want to give recognition to the engineering department and the great job that y'all did around the community over in Northwest Auburn. And on yesterday, I always go through the neighborhood about once a week. And so yesterday I was going through and I noticed that you started on the sidewalk on Pleasant. And those people are so happy and they are so impressed. So I just wanted to let everybody that's involved, I'd say the engineering department, but I know there was other departments involved also. So I just want to thank you for that and keep up the good work.
Thank you, Connie. Thank all of y'all. Thanks to the staff, Megan, for everybody that made that happen. Great job. Anything else from the council?
Yes,
Okay. I'm sorry.
I have a ward meeting also scheduled on the 11th of July at 6:30 in the library, and our guest speaker will be Becky Richardson from the Parks and Recreation Department. And also, Megan, I believe we have already set a date now for this placing of the North Auburn Historic District sign. And it's on my phone, which I can't pull out during the meeting, so.
Yeah, Forrest had been coordinating that along with Tom Weintraub, and Tom, do you know the date off the top of your head?
Saturday, August 17th.
August 17th, okay.
So August 17th at
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
That's all I have. Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Anything else from the council? Okay.
Let me just say one other thing. And Megan, I want to also thank you for responding to my emails that I sent you and the quick responses you sent when I asked about the privacy fence and also about the situation over on Pleasant Avenue. So I want to thank you for that.
Okay. All right. Is there a member from Auburn University that's here tonight to give a report? I know it's close to a holiday. Okay. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine.
Hello, my name is Mary Kate Hillis, and I'm the Assistant Director of City Relations for Auburn University Student Government Association. Jack is on vacation this week, so I'm here. We just want to remind you about the final 2 Camp War Eagle pep rallies. They will be held on Monday, July 8th and Thursday, July 11th from 7:30 to 8 p.m. As you know, they are held at Gate 5 of Jordan-Hare Stadium. I would also like to highlight the university's Fulbright Scholars. In the past month, 5 Auburn University graduates were selected to receive the prestigious Fulbright Scholar Award. Fulbright Scholars are part of an international exchange program funded and sponsored by the United States government to foster connections with the international community. This brings Auburn's recipient total to 30 students in the last decade. Lastly, another great way to continue to stay up to date with what SGA is doing is by following us on social media on Instagram at Auburn SGA and Facebook Auburn SGA. That concludes this week's report. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, War Eagle.
Okay, at this point in time, there's an opportunity for the citizens to have communications to the council on anything on the agenda. Please come forward and give your name and address for the record. You have 5 minutes, and these are comments to the city council on agenda items. Okay, seeing none. Ms. Crouch?
Well, I don't have any communications this evening, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Our first item of business is whether or not you want to consider taking the whole consent agenda, or you want to remove any items and deal with those items individually.
Any items that the council would like to remove to consider individually? Okay, if not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda carries.
Okay, we'll be moving to ordinances, Mayor. Under ordinances this evening, item 9A1 is authorizing the establishment of 2 stop signs in the Arbor subdivision.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this tonight? If not, Lindsay?
Yes.
Have any discussion?
Oh, discussion.
Discussion, okay, excuse me, yep, my bad. Thank you, Kelly. Is there any discussion?
I would just like to know the status of the Arbor subdivision and timelines on how much longer it's, they're going to be in work.
They're going to be underway with their infrastructure. Let me ask our city engineer, Allison Fraser, for an update if she has one.
The plat has been signed, and they are currently working on their infrastructure as far as houses, but we don't have a specific timeline for that yet.
We can look in that a little further. You're going to see some easements on your next agenda. They were requesting some sewer easements to be accepted by you, and what Allison's saying with the plat. It's moving along, but we can get you a timeline update. I'll get back with you on that.
And have there been any further citizen complaints about erosion or runoff from the arbors as of late? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kelly, for that correction. Any other questions? Okay, all right. Lindsay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor?
Yes.
Witten?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Item 9A2 is authorizing the establishment of 1 stop sign in the Northern Village subdivision.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? If not, are there any questions? Seeing none, Lindsay?
Dixon?
Yes.
Griswold?
Yes, ma'am.
Hovey?
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor?
Yes.
Witten?
Yes.
Dawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Anderson?
Yes.
Item 9A3 is authorizing the establishment of 1 stop sign in the Parker Place Townhome subdivision.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Seeing none, are there any questions? Seeing none, Lindsay?
Griswold?
Yes, ma'am.
Hovey?
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
Taylor?
Yes.
Witten?
Yes.
Dawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Dixon?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Mayor, we do not have any resolutions for you to consider outside of those you already approved on the consent agenda, so those are all the items of business we have for you this evening.
Okay, thank you, Megan. Anything from the council from other business?
Yes, Councilperson Smith and I met with Assistant City Manager Crouch this morning, discussing some ideas, some scenarios on the Kohler House preservation and/or moving, what that might look like, and also some additional ideas with regard to our Parks and Recs, Dennis Park, Town Creek. But the main thing that I would like to ask this council, Councilperson Smith and I would like to have it on the agenda, the next committee of the whole agenda, to discuss the Colors House, what that entails, and then have the council's input as to what we would like the staff to bring back to us as options. So really, the reason for bringing it up is to ask this council if y'all are in agreement to have it on the next committee of the whole for discussion.
Well, this is certainly something that's being talked about a lot, and I've received a number of calls this week. Have had one meeting. We'll have a couple more meetings with different people next week who are interested in trying to participate or have ideas or want to help. So the council, or y'all, what do y'all think about us creating time in 2 weeks at the committee of the whole to discuss the Colors House specifically? And from that conversation, we could ask the staff to investigate, spend time to look into different options that might possibly be out there. And I'm not certainly suggesting there's anything that could be a possibility. But
Mayor, I think the staff has done they've done substantial work to date. Councilmember Whitten wanted to kind of see, we wanted to do our due diligence based on the history of the home and what we can do as a city and just look at some options. And I think we'll, if council approves and we get on committee of the whole, I think we'll be able to see some different options and be able to bring those to the public, hopefully.
Okay. So council, we can do this informally. I can kind of look down here. Is everybody okay with creating time? I would think, Megan, that we maybe want to start at 6:30. Potentially.
Noted, okay.
So we could have time to have a nice discussion. Everybody on this side okay with doing
Just
that?
need to ask a question.
Sure, go ahead.
What is the Kohler House?
It is.
And where?
Sure, it is, you want to speak to that since you're currently residing in that?
It's a home to a pretty terrible law firm. I don't know. No, that's my law firm for the public. It's on the corner of College and Sanford. It's a historic home built, I believe, in 1898. Originally from a professor at the university with the crop rotation. It has a good amount of history with our city and plus the university. And the land has been purchased, and so and I think I don't want to get too far into the discussion, but there's a potential option for the home to be relocated off of that land, and so I think it would be good for us and good for our roles to explore that for the public to see what options we may have.
Is that the one over by the barbecue house?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
That's right. That would have been the short answer.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
You got to give me a landmark.
Yes, ma'am. That would be the one.
Okay. Thank you.
Everybody down here? Everybody here? Okay, so I see a majority of you nodding your head and saying that's okay. So, Ms. Crouch, if you would communicate to Mr. Buston that we'd like to create time in 2 weeks to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anything else from other business? Okay, if not, this is the time for Citizens Open Forum. This is an opportunity for you, the citizen, to address the council about anything on your mind. I ask that you address the council. This is not a time for you to address the staff. You have 3 minutes, and please come forward and give your name and address for the record.
There, I'm Ray Hunt, 1438 Garner Avenue. I just wanted to address you just to remind you what's coming up in 30 days. We're going to have 25,000 students back in town. We've got 2 new 600-bed properties opening within a block of each other downtown. And my little corner of the world over there is very frustrating in trying to get from point A to point B and having people find me. I wanted to thank Mr. Harris and in the city for making some positive movements in the direction of trying to involve businesses in what's happening. That hasn't happened in the past, but maybe enough phone calls of mine have gotten through, I hope. But it's going to be serious. I know there's a lot of work going on, and I just want y'all, any input that these businesses can have, I want y'all to consider it. I would suggest that you find out when people are moving out and when people are moving in different locations, because that's going to determine where your traffic is. So I'm just trying to offer some helpful suggestions, and hopefully that you know, everything will go as smooth as possible during that time, because right now it's kind of chaotic. So I'm just hoping we'll manage it to the best of our abilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Huff.
I'd like to say thank you, Mr. Huff, for bringing that up, because I think you're exactly right, and I'm afraid if we don't realize what a problem it could be, we're going to have a major problem down there. Hopefully the city will be looking into that.
Mayor, if I may, this is something you discussed briefly in your packet meeting Friday, and I had indicated to you that our staff has been working with both the new buildings moving in, plus the existing building, and Uncommon Auburn, which is under construction in the vicinity. Obviously, we've had very significant emergency repair work that has happened in that area, and unfortunately, we cannot get Glen Avenue back open until the week of July 12th at this juncture, with the latest update I have, unless somebody gives me a different date. And we are coordinating. Our Development Services Executive Director, along with our Development Services team, has been meeting with all said projects, and exactly to Mr. Huff's point, we're looking to coordinate. We have had issues, particularly when 160 Ross and the building formerly known as the Evolve, because nobody at Wright and Main is, I mean, Wright and West and Wright. Let me get this straight, sorry. It's changed names a few times. We called it the Parker when it was first being considered. So that building, as it's moved in and created challenges, we're taking a hard look and wanting to coordinate with public safety. When 160 Ross first moved in, and even last year, we had cars blocking the intersection, and public safety came out and moved it out. And our staff's taking a proactive approach on these. I am not indicating in any way, shape, or form that this will go perfectly as planned, but we're cognizant of the dates, and we are constantly communicating. And our inspection services director has indicated to me also that we are having weekly coordination meetings, as I explained to you Friday, with all of these folks, because we also have a number of inspections, and 2 of these buildings need to be furnished completely, so they are furnished properties, but the furniture has to come in, and then the people will move in, and that's going to be a massive undertaking of semi-trucks delivering lots of appliances and furniture, and we're dealing with all of those things accordingly. And we also discussed Friday a communications plan, and our public affairs staff will be coordinating with the Chamber of Commerce, Auburn University, and anybody else who will listen to help push out information to our citizens about what's going on, and try to get to students and their parents, plus our general citizenry, what's going on and how we're trying to make it the least egregious possible on the traveling public.
Megan, do you feel confident that the people who are operating these new facilities, that we've got clear communication with them as to what our expectations are and what we'll be doing to facilitate?
I've not sat directly in those meetings. Let me have our Development Services Executive Director, Scott Cummings, answer that question.
Okay.
I do applaud our staff for taking initiative to begin meeting with the staff this past month, and we are having weekly meetings with them to coordinate the staff as best we can. You know, there's a lot of activity, as you can see as you drive by, a lot of coordination having to take place, and the sinkhole in Glen did not help matters, but I do applaud all the staff who stepped up and been proactive and reactive where we had to be. And yes, we are clearly communicating our expectations as you ask, and you know, as we continue to coordinate, we're looking for opportunities where we can, you know, ease the pain as much as possible to, you know, as Mr. Huff addressed, to all the businesses in the area and all the residences. So.
Thank you.
I would just say our staff will be monitoring very carefully as it gets closer and coordinating particularly with public safety. And people do need to understand we don't want anybody hurt, and we don't want a dangerous situation with cars blocking the right of way, and, you know, somebody's not paying attention, what have you. So we're very cognizant of that. Until it happens, we won't know, but our staff is making a full effort to make this as smooth as possible.
And Ms. Crouch, thank you very much for pushing that social media with the map. That was very helpful. Is that something and I haven't noticed, did that go out through the e-notifier as well?
It did, and remember with the sinkhole, the initial map went out pretty quickly, but we had the Gay Street repairs going on at the same time, and that's where you saw a second map. And then we've gone through and labeled for businesses. We also printed a number of banners, and I'll have to defer to our city engineer. Did they get put up? We have printed large banners, and we are a little challenged without putting them on private property in some of the locations, but we implemented our Toomer's Corner plan, which is when we had an opportunity to know ahead of time. We had a huge PR plan that involved the university, the chamber, and other stakeholders, AO Tourism, everybody got involved and tried to push out, and we are going to reconvene our group post this emergency incident on a major arterial to make sure everybody's on the same page about how we're going to proceed, and our public affairs staff is pushing out information as quick as they can. And we're trying to reach the channels, but I can't encourage people enough to please sign up for e-notifier. If you want to know immediately, and you can check the boxes for the things you're interested in, that is the quickest way, and if you follow the city on social media, it goes out through all those channels.
Thank you, Meg. Okay, is there anyone else for citizens open forum time?
Good evening, Council. L.B. Jackson, 813 North College. I have a same question I had 2 weeks ago, a $15,000 question. I don't see anybody here from Community Development Block Grant Department. I'm interested in purchasing a property that was owned previously by a Jesse Merle Williams, which previous councilman Verlinda White's mother. Right around about the time of an election here, there was a forgiveness or some kind of payment of $15,000. And right now she's asking for the two property owners that I'm asking to purchase the property from, she's asking for $10,000. But no one at the city, Minister Williams was here last week, he got the same information with just a signed document saying that that $15,000 were paid. I don't like giving money to somebody without knowing that they actually paid that money. The block grant money is federal money. I don't want to, in the middle of a year where we are trying to get money for Northwest Auburn, I don't want to have to call HUD and say, call the city of Auburn and see if you can get me some clarity on how $15,000 were paid or who paid that $15,000. And I also understand that there is in the files a notation from Mrs. Verlinda White saying that her brothers gave her their interest. And if that was so, there should have been a quick claim deed or something of that nature put in the file. But somehow or another, all of a sudden, that's $15,000 going out of the block grant money, some CDBG money. And I'm not willing to give up $10,000 to her or anyone that can't prove that they paid that money. I'm ready to close. But right now, I need clarity. Mayor, Bill signed off on it. Not you. Mr. Davis said he don't know how that got done. My time is running out. I need to find out if I'm going to give $10,000 to who. Who do I need to give it to? And I would appreciate if city manager or someone in his office would let me know how that $15,000 just got paid, if it was forgiven. And this is the third time we've asked that information. Thank you.
Ms. Crouch, I know there was an email sent to us.
Yeah, two emails about this topic since the last meeting.
A couple weeks ago.
Yes. What would you like me to provide, Mayor?
Would you read that email from city manager? I think it had a short explanation on there.
You want me to read you the bullet points?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay, there was a home rehabilitation loan secured by Jesse Williams, and that was a correction. You got a second email about the correction of the date in 2005. And the amount of $15,650 Ms. Williams passed away in, I think that date, she passed away, that also date is a little bit further back. It says in the email you got it was in 2018 or possibly 2017, but she passed away. It's required when the recipient of one of these CDBG rehabilitation loans passes away that the loan becomes due. There are two ways to pay back the loan. The house would need to be sold to satisfy the loan, or a family member can pay off the loan to satisfy the loan. Ms. White lived in the home after her mom passed away, and Ms. White paid off the loan in March of 2018. The loan was not forgiven. It was satisfied through payment to the city. The mayor's signature is needed to finalize the paperwork and close out the account. That is purely a matter of administrative order, and the mayor must sign those documents. This is documentation required by HUD, and with these types of loan, it is common for the parents to borrow the money and the children not know about it until their death. These are what we call deferred mortgages, and I'm paraphrasing because trying to explain to you what that says further. And they don't know about it until the death of their parent and the loan becomes due. While the city manager indicated he did not know the family details behind the loan, but that is really none of our business. As long as the loan was repaid after the death of the person who received the loan, that satisfies the obligation to the city. In September of 2018, Ms. White's brother, Mr. Williams, met with Al Davis and requested records of this transaction. Al forwarded the request made by Mr. Williams to our city attorney's office, as this is where these transactions are recorded. Mr. Williams completed public records request for this information, and the information was delivered to him. It is my understanding that Mr. Williams has engaged an attorney to represent him, and we believe this is an estate matter among the family members of the family, and the family needs to engage the legal avenues available to them to work out their differences. This is no longer a city matter, as the loan was repaid. It was not forgiven.
Could it not be simple just to provide a receipt showing Mrs. Williams, Mrs. White paid that? No one has been able to produce a receipt, and that's all we're asking for. If you give a receipt, I'll get $10,000.
This is a personal issue. Is this any matter of this council or the city at this point in time?
Not at this time. That's what the city manager has indicated, and an attorney has also been engaged by the family. The attorney for Mr. Williams has spoken to the city attorney, Rick Davidson, and any request can be made attorney to attorney for whatever information they're seeking, and if we have it, we will provide it.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the council? Okay. At this point in time, Lindsay, make sure I do this right. We will adjourn to July the 8th, 2019 at 10:00 a.m. for the appointment of election officials. Okay? Do I have a second to that?
Second.
We're adjourned.